Okay, hello everyone. My name is Mina Chang. Thank you for watching our reading. Today we're going to hear flash stories from the 2024 edition of the Best Small Fictions. Just a quick introduction to the anthology. This edition of the Best Small Fiction contains 102 exemplary stories of 1,000 words or less from all around the world. The series editor is Nathan Leslie, and the managing editor is the amazing Michelle Elvey. So yay, Michelle. The guest editor for the 2024 book was Amber Sparks. And this book is currently being published by Alternating Current Press. Copies are available in paperback or electronically, and there's even a pay what you can option on the Alternating Current Press website. So if you want to hurry up and grab a pencil and jot down that web address, that's altcurrentpress.com, altcurrentpress.com. Books are also available at Amazon, bookshop.org, and just about anywhere else you can buy a book. I've been part of the Best Small Fictions team for several years, and I'm really excited to be here with this group of people today. It's a great group of authors. They will be reading from their story from the anthology, maybe even another story if they have something short, and hopefully everyone will have time to talk about their other work, their books, and all those good things. So we hope to get to hear that. We expect the reading to last about an hour, and so that is quite enough rambling for me. Let's get started. First up, we have Avitus B. Carl. Avitus lives and writes outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Her debut flash collection, These Worn Bodies, which is wonderful, was the winner of the 2023 Moon City Press Short Fiction Award. Her short fiction and nonfiction have appeared in Fractured Lit, X-Ray Lit Mag, The Commuter, The Rumpus, Waxwing, JMWW, and Shondaland, among others. So Avitus, you're up.
Thank you, Mina. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me this lovely day in Pennsylvania. I'm going to read my story that was published in the Best Small Fictions. It's called Like Real Women Do. And for those following along, it's on page 64. Like Real Women Do. Oh, which was published in OK Donkey originally. Mama says real women bleed between their legs just as much as the blood being pushed through their veins. She says real women wear tampons, pads for emergencies, both when their allergies get bad and they gotta sneeze. Mama says real women get caught foolin', but doesn't say what foolin' means. Only that Aunt Tessa got caught and got the belt, and when she bends over, folks can still see Granddad's buckle stamped on her legs. Mama says real women work, like her and Aunt Tessa, before any foolin' happens. That real women know how to treat a man so he'll cover up, though she doesn't say what that means either. Real women aren't afraid of the pain, and Mama says there'll be pain at first, but I'll get used to it. Some women like the pain, while some, like Aunt Tessa, never learn to. I ask Mama if that's what foolin' means, and she says no. Says that foolin' is what got me and my cousins Rochelle and Azriel. What she means is Aunt Tessa likes to love real women, not like loving Mama and me and her babies, but the women she takes to the back of our trailer, letting them trace Granddad's belt buckle brandings with their tongues. Mama says that now I'm a real woman, I can ask them to do that to me too. I ask who them are. She says whoever I want. As long as, if they're men, they cover up so no fooling happens. I ask if I have to see them like she does, and she says no. Then she says yes, just not as often. Real women make sacrifices, and she tells me sacrifices are food and clothes and this trailer and these babies, and since I'm a real woman now, I have to help with all of that. Real women know how to keep quiet, like Aunt Tessa leading another real woman to her room. like Mama holding hands with two men and leading them to her room. A man comes up behind me, rests his hand on my shoulder. He says something I guess real women like, but I can't figure out what his words mean. He offers me money, like I'm a real woman. I listen for my mama, my Aunt Tessa, try to hear what real women sound like, then remember real women get real quiet behind closed doors. I unzip my pants, but I don't pull them down. Peek inside my underwear, make sure the man can't see. Check if I'm still bleeding, like real women do. Thank you.
Thank you, Avitus. You always read beautifully. Okay, our next reader is Gillian O'Shaughnessy. Gillian is an award-winning flash fiction writer from Woolwullup, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, in Fremantle, Western Australia. Her debut collection is out in 2026 with Night Parrot Press. And it is your turn, Gillian.
Thank you very much, Mina, for inviting me. And it's just so fantastic to see all of your beautiful faces from Western Australia. I'm so excited to be included in this just incredible collection. My story is called Into the White, and it was originally published in Fractured Lit. The wolves are out again. I can hear them, their hollow wails in the pines, slicing through a storm of snow. It's my turn to get the wood in. It was my turn last night, and the night before, and the night before that too, but Father says I'm mistaken. He's so careful not to slur his words. I know not to argue. Instead, I offer a skinny smile. He says I look like I'm fed on lemons and sugar, and he'll fix my face if I don't fix it first. I pull on the old boots he keeps by the door. They're always too big, no matter how tight I pull the laces and wind the ends around and around my ankles. They used to be his best boots, buffed brown leather, the colour of honey. They turned black with age and damp and rot. My father's eyes were brown once too. The shed is 50 steps away exactly in this kind of snow when you take into account the weight of the wood sled. I know because I've counted. It's easy to miss the shed in bad weather, and there's nothing past it but the forest. I'm cold, and I can feel watchful gazers trace my path as I walk, or maybe I imagine them. I can see thin skeins of frosted breath rise through the trees in the dark, or maybe it's only the mist. I go step by step. I don't lose count, even as the storm begins to settle. At the woodshed, the old door lurches on its hinges like a drunk. I feel for the axe near the edge of the door frame, even before I turn the light on. The sleet and the wind whistle through cracks in the window and a gap in the wall. The bare bulb sways on its frayed cord, and the wood is wet and fettered. I can't recall when we last stacked it neatly. That was always Mama's job. I chop the logs fast. Father says I'm stronger than I look and fierce. It used to make me proud when he said that. I don't remember why. I pile up the sled and go to put the axe back in its place. In the doorway between me and the house stands a thin grey wolf, still as winter, looking at me with a steady gaze, its head held low. Fear clutches at my gut like a punch. Father always said to run if you can from a fight, but if you can't, go in early and hard, use your fists and teeth and everything. Be wild like an animal and you'll win, sure as anything. I used to believe him. The grey wolf glitters sharp under the glow of a luminous moon. I put down my axe and step into the white, reach out my hand. I don't remember why. Thank you.
Thank you, Gillian. I love that every time I hear it. So next up is Claudia Monpere, and I think that I get her name wrong every time I say it because I say it differently every time. So apologies for probably messing that up. Claudia is a very patient friend, and she won the 2024 New Flash Fiction Prize from New Flash Fiction Review and the Genre Flash Fiction Prize from Uncharted Magazine, which, yay, I love that because I work at Uncharted. She has stories in Best Small Fictions 2024 and 2025, and in Best Microfiction 2025. So, Claudia, it is your turn.
It's so lovely to be here with all you wonderful writers. Mina, thank you so much for inviting me. This story was published in Atlas and Alice. Solar flare. You interrupt your husband doing the crosswords to show him how much the sun weighs. 4 nonillion, 385 octillion pounds. You don't know how to say this number, so you point to your tablet. He grunts, then asks you for a 5-letter word that's part of a ship's hull under the engine room. Bilge, you say, then run to the bathroom to vomit. You shouldn't have eaten those pancakes. You're in the minority of women who still have nausea in their 3rd trimester. You're 40 years old, sick, and exhausted. You sit on the bathroom floor afterward, wiping your mouth with a towel. Baby, you say. Oh, baby, baby, baby. You're right not to trust me. When you come out of the bathroom, your husband has a glass of ginger ale for you and a warm towel for your face. He brings you a cozy blanket as you lie on the couch. He's tender, unlike your first husband. When you're feeling better, he opens his laptop and suggests the two of you look at ovens to replace the 13-year-old one that heats irregularly and now has rust. He's very organized and has made a list of all the things that need to be done before the baby's birth. We were thinking about a convection oven, right? He says. You ask him if he knows that the convection layer of the sun is 4 million degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know, and sweetie, I don't care, he says. What I do care about is your obsession with the sun. It's gone beyond irritating. He suggests a game of Wordle. And please don't start with solar. You tell him you're going back to bed. You need to sleep. Some scientists refer to Earth's sun as our luminary. How lyrical, how benign, especially since it's middle-aged, a typical G-class star in midlife cycle, born 4.6 billion years ago. A lot of living left to do. Baby kicks vigorously. A lot of living? Baby is not a yellow dwarf star like the sun. You rub your tummy. Baby, you say, I love you. But we're all keepers of secrets. When you wake up around noon, your husband is painting the nursery. That soft pastel blue you picked out together. You take pictures of him standing on the ladder, waving. This makes him happy. Later, he rubs your feet and sips a Corona. You don't tell him that last year, for the first time ever, a spacecraft entered the sun's corona, where temperatures spike upward of 2 million degrees Fahrenheit. Temperatures spike quickly inside a parked car. The sun is mostly hydrogen and helium, like a child's orange balloon. That night you awaken around 2 a.m. and can't get back to sleep. You take a bath. This makes baby active. You watch your belly ripple. That moving lump is probably an arm or leg. That firm, round area, probably baby's head. After a while, you get out of the tub and make some herbal tea, then bring it outside in the warm night and lie on the chaise lounge, looking up at the sky. Soon it will be dawn. Once, you tell baby, a mother drove to work. She and her husband were young and stupid and always rushing around. There was confusion that morning about who was driving the 22-month-old to daycare. You rub your belly gently. You sip your tea and watch the sunrise. In a few 100 million years, the sun will swell to orange. Still later, it will expand to become a red giant on the cusp of death. It will gently shed its outer layers, expelling glowing gas, a dazzling nebula. 15 years, 4 months, and 2 days ago, you shed your motherhood, your husband. You smoldered shame and learned a new language. You sing this story to baby.
Thank you, Claudia. That is such a heartbreaking story. It's beautifully done. Our next reader is Joel Hans. Joel's debut short fiction collection won the 2024 Moon City Short Fiction Award and is coming later this year. So Joel, it is your turn.
Thanks, Mina. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so happy to be here. It's been quite a long time since I've read my work aloud. So thank you, Mina, for the opportunity to refamiliarize myself with how all this works. I'll be reading from my story, The Time I'll Trade Time with the Crows, which was also published in Atlas and Alice. And big thanks to Benjamin and Kathy for championing this one all the way through to Best Small Fictions. A long, long time ahead, the crows will give me time in exchange for my children's possessions. My son's owl bath toy, the crayons my daughter will have tried to sharpen with the safety scissors. The crows will warn me not to bite into time itself, but rather put the blue sea chublet on my tongue and let time dissolve into me, or it'll be too much time to deal with at one time. I'll wait until I'm done, my son and daughter in bed, and my partner pecking at his PlayStation. Time will taste like the time before it rains. Over time, they'll inch me back through my 30s. The second sea scar will disappear, and then the first. The stretches of sex will get better, and my partner will never suspect a thing, always remarking at how time passes by so much faster now that we're older. He'll keep photographing water for the ultra-rich, making more than enough money to support the whole family, which will feel like an insult that's been workshopped to perfection. Things will change in the yoke of my 20s. I'll bring my kids to the grocery store, and the other patrons will look me up and down, doing the mental gymnastics to calculate how young of a teenager I'll have been when delivering them, worse, conceiving them. They'll shake their heads as they stare into the anchorage of eggs. I'll also lose my job because HR will start to wonder about the veracity of my resume, how I gained so many years of experience at such a seemingly young age. But I'll love the kids more. I'll stop wishing I could transpose myself onto the backside of the moon just for a full stop of solitude. Playtime will become our happiest time. My daughter will build me a castle from Lego bricks, and I'll make myself small, crawl inside, and learn to rule. My kingdom will be threatened by a dragon, but after enough marshmallows, the dragon will reveal himself to be my son, who I'll have lost and found and lost. On the carpet with them beside me, I'll find a laugh I'll have thought I lost. At 19, I'll kiss my partner for the last time. He'll only let me drop a glancing peck at his cheek, and he'll aim his eyes at the coming haboob, as though he'll believe his spouse, whom he'll have known since he was 18, will be delivered back to him as though through a downpour. Thanks, my partner will say, as he'll become my father. As I'll sprawl back toward prepubescence, the crows will ask me how I'm doing with all their stolen time after all this time. I'll tell them how I'll love my son and daughter more, now they'll be my siblings, how fun it'll be to have all my firsts for a second time. First make out with someone other than my partner father, first time sneaking out of the house, first time riding a bike without training wheels, first time losing a tooth, first time going in the big potty, first time writing my own name, first time seeing someone in the process of drowning, first time going in the little potty. The crows will keep giving me all this time. You'll never even think to look away, no matter how hard I'm warning you behind of time. Lastly, firstly, I'll trade the blanket I'll have made myself 30 years ahead. When the crows will bring time to the windowsill, I'll barely be able to reach. I'll have become so small. They'll nod their beaks and wish me good time. Until next time. I'll wait until my siblings are playing somewhere else in the house before taking the chublet of time in my mouth. I'll roll it around my toddler tongue. I'll have just a few teeth, but my quartz head of incisors will be just enough to bite into time itself, which will be a deep enough dose of time to begin again. I'll look at the world freshly. I'll be able to tell my siblings, I don't like you, and not carry a year of guilt for it. My bones will regrow down known avenues. My teeth will fall out in search of better replacements. I'll do toddlerish things like toddle over to my father as he'll rest at the end of a long day of photographing water, lift his shirt, put my finger down his belly button. His eyes will entangle mine, and I'll cradle his cheek and say a childish thing like, nice. But I'll mean, isn't this nicer now that we've started over? When we're tucked in, my siblings will talk largely about mother, how little they'll remember, fits and silhouettes. Instead, I'll tell them about new mother, who will be coming any time now. She'll have snappy high fives, hug like a vacuum, wear a different color every day of her life. She'll love us how we'll deserve. She'll be everything I haven't and will have never been. Brother will coo, sister will giggle. New mother will hold us so high in the sky, and she'll never, ever, ever think, what if I just let you go? Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. I love that. The mind-bending aspect of that is so fun to read. So next up, we have Lauren Maria Guay. Lauren is a poet, speculative fiction writer, and PhD student in English and education. Born in Paraguay, they are currently based in the US Midwest at the University of Michigan. And so now it's your turn, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Mina. I hope folks can hear me. I am so appreciative of the opportunity to get to read and to get to hear everybody else reading from their wonderful stories. I'm a bit of a slow reader, so I will be reading just part of my story that appears in Best Small Fictions, which is titled The Last Goodbye in the City of Electric Longing, and first appeared in the wonderful Small Wonders magazine, which is easily accessible online. The Last Goodbye in the City of Electric Longing. Your name was red, but you sang the blues. You had a voice that could have done just about anything, except make a dead man walk or a cop tell the truth. The night we said our last goodbye, I took my usual booth at the Tipsy Widow and ordered a gin and lime, no ice, to nurse with my good hand. Forget the rest of it. The bills, the bullet holes, the bodies scattered in back alleys like wet napkins. The other patrons didn't know why everything trembled with extra light when I crept in. The naked bulbs quivering in their screws, the rafters lambent strands of neon fizzing like soda bubbles. But you smiled. You were fixing your lipstick in the reflection on the grand piano's lid, your hair pressed close to your head in short, dark waves. Your suit was impeccable. Your eyes were improbable, the violet of a slow healing bruise. They had a knowingness to them. Everyone here wanted you, clustering like punch-drunk moths, but I yearned for you, and you counted on it. There were big producers slumming it here tonight. Here, not the penthouse cantinas where dancers shotgunned glow stick fluid and the power never went out. You needed to sing the best show of your life. Once I'd thought I was immune to it, this city that ran on thwarted desires. Then I ricocheted off a kingpin's sparkling fist and stumbled across you, warbling jazz in a bar for women like us. We sat not touching in a booth the color of embalming fluid and drank liquor that had once been hard. You gestured to my black eye and asked if I was scared. We didn't dance, but you gave me a cocktail napkin imprinted with your lips. When I left, the city lit up around me in wild, lustrous bursts, a drunken universe of street lamps and pawn shop signs flickering. We never touched. That would have defeated the purposes for which we used each other. After an evening listening to you run scales, nude and candlelit in your bath, I could get up and go out again into the slick, moonless nights, chasing death, despair, and dental bills. Over and over, even when you begged me not to, because, well, I guess I wanted to be worth more than just my longing, whatever that meant. That night, it started with a bad case. I hate runaway cases for the same reason I hate shabbily dressed private eyes, namely because I own a mirror. This case stank like a limousine's ashtrays. The clients had real marble and imitation manners, and smiles that were only passing acquaintances with their eyes. If I'd known where their money came from, I would have stuck it back up their butler's nose. But I was thinking of rent and your favorite flavor of ice cream. I found their kid, except the bridge and the languid dark water had found him first. The paramedics told me later that he would live, if he wanted it bad enough, except they said it with the pylon illuminators still blazing above us like a theater marquee, which meant he'd wanted something very badly when he jumped. I wasn't sure he would give it up to go back to an apartment that smelled of rotting orchids, and beneath them, all the blood $2 million couldn't bleach away. That's why I got into all the trouble afterwards, with the clients and the social workers and the police, and all the filthy secrets stretched between them, just so I could see a different type of fireworks when I shut my eyes someday. It was stupid of me to run to your show, but I figured I should try to keep one promise in my life for the sheer novelty, if nothing else. The widow's cushions didn't show the stains much. I ditched the gun in a champagne bucket, and Alonzo's saxophone was so fine it could have peeled the stockings off the evening. When you hit the high notes, I saw producers mopping their eyes with the tablecloths. The cops showed up for your last song. Go figure. They'd never been on time before. They kicked down the unlocked door to show they meant business, then paused to relieve the bar of a few officer-involved shot glasses. But soon enough, I knew they'd get around to finding me.
Thank you, Lauren. I have loved that story ever since the first time I read it, and I heard you read it a couple of times now, and it gets better every time. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Next up, we have Mickey Aronoff. Mickey lives in New Mexico, where she writes tiny stories and advocates for animals. So, Mickey.
Greetings from the high desert of New Mexico. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you all. Thank you, Mina, for inviting me, and to all connected to Best Small Fictions. My story is called Swings and Roundabouts, and it was first published in Emerge Literary Journal. Greta compacts her body into stone and rocks as far away from her father as she can, given that they are both squeezed into a swan seat on the park's carousel. The ticket taker runs to the center of the ride, turns on the switch. The swan lurches forward. It's not fair, Greta pouts, chin down as the calliope pipe streams, all passengers moving at the same speed in counterclockwise circles, all looking ahead. You'll get there first. 3 feet ahead of the swan, her sister Sylvie stretches a forward lean, her thighs straddling a white stallion with wild eyes, a silver pole at its center. They rise and fall together, up and down, up and down. Sylvie will later have the same crazed look in her eyes when the best looking senior in high school is riding her, and she dreams her hair is floating like a horse's mane or a slow motion shampoo commercial. But now she and the horse piston is one, the ride circling like a man trying to walk with one foot nailed to the ground, like her father, who's trying to keep everything equal since mom walked out a year ago, stretched from trying to keep things in balance. It's a carousel, Gret, her father says, teeth clenched, patting her hand a little too hard. We're all going the same distance, and there's no brass ring on this ride. In his other hand, he's holding a goldfish in a plastic bag as far away from him as he can, as if it were ready to explode into smithereens, into tiny fishy fragments. Like the goldfish, his high school teacher froze and smashed across the table. Sylvie won her fish playing bean toss after hooping and hollering in the bumper cars and before she got first pick on the carousel. So far, Greta's won nothing that's alive. She'll go home with only a plastic princess ring, now tucked for safekeeping in her father's shirt pocket. The goldfish flashes orange. It seems bigger than it should be. Greta eyes it with suspicion. In a month, the fish will float upside down in a bowl, never cleaned of its shit. 2 flushes in a wave, by George. Greta is the only one who will mourn, but now she is crying over everything. The horse is ahead of the swan. True. Her piece is bigger than mine. Chocolate cupcakes twinned in commercial wrapping. I wanted it first. She thinks this is hard to disprove. Greta is weighted to the swan seat like a boulder. She watches her father lean back, stare at her, a sly stealth of a look at her petulant mouth, her quivering chin, 2 tiny buds under a too tight, sparkly pink t-shirt left behind by her mother in a rush to get out of town. His right hand fists, fingernails jam into his palm, etch red arcs like parentheses, trying to contain what's coming. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mickey. Beautifully read. That's a chilling story. So next we have a piece by Robert Scatellaro. I hope I'm saying his name right. Tell me if I've got it wrong. You're muted, Jeff. Robert couldn't be here with us today, so we have Jeff Friedman, yay, coming in to read for us. So I'm going to give you both bios really quick before we get started. Robert is the author of 10 collections of flash and microfiction and co-editor with James Thomas of the anthology New Micro, Exceptionally Short Fiction from W.W. Norton and Company. A full-length collection of his prose poetry is forthcoming by Sylvania Barva Press later this year. And Jeff Friedman has published 11 books of poetry and prose and 2 books of translations. So Jeff, thank you so much for coming today and sharing Robert's work with us. And I will let you take it from here.
Okay, thank you very much, Mina, for being so gracious. And there's been so many wonderful stories already. I will just mention that Robert has a relatively new book out called From the Book of Atmospheres, published by the wonderful Bamboo Dart Press. They do wonderful chapbooks, beautiful too. So the work I'm reading of his is called Close Calls. And I kind of feel like a designated runner, not a designated hitter, but a designated runner. So in baseball, but I've read for Robert before. Close Calls. He collected dented breastplates from centuries-old battles. They were up on the walls in his den, and I couldn't help but wonder if he'd gotten them cheaper that way, being damaged and all. Oh no, he told me as we passed a joint back and forth, as though we were underwater and sharing a mouthpiece to a single tank of air. It's a reminder, is all, of close calls, a battle axe, an arrow that never got its appetite appeased. He had an eye patch over one eye, which I never asked about. And as the marijuana stormed the barricades, I viewed those wall hangings with fresh eyes, thought of all the swords that nearly made it through, so easily forgotten, and how it's the deep splinters and the mosquitoes' sly insertion that drive one mad. How the critical close calls are good for chit-chat and a nervous laugh, then, hey, what's for dinner? There was one on the wall with a deep gash above the place a heart would beat, with that fierce banging on either side of the plate. And as I marveled, I could feel that one good eye on me. Thank you.
Jeff, did you want to read another couple of Robert's short pieces? His are so short. I know that if you wanted to, we could have a few more.
Okay, well, I'll read. How about if I read a short piece or two, like from this book? I'll just read it. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll do
thank you.
High Fidelity. It was his idea to wear the blindfolds. Said, just think how it might enhance our other senses, especially in the sack. Only for a day or two, he said, bumping into walls, never cheating. She wore hers on her head, pretended to knock things over, moaned with him on top in High Fidelity, craning her neck, watching TV with the sound off. Okay, one more. That's it. Is that okay? Do you want me to? I'll do another one. So since he's not here, you know, and he's older than all of you, so that way he gets extra time. He's older than me too, if that's possible. So count on it. I'm in a fat Elvis band. The other Elvis pot-bellied in those glittery jumpsuits. My girlfriend Reva just broke up with me for a guy in his skinny Johnny Cash band. She told me right before she left, you want something you can count on? Get an abacus. I guess it's put a lot more twang in my guitar, that breakup, because a cutie pie from a lit up Lady Gaga band and me have been seeing each other plenty. She says she loves the way I curl my lip at that crazy sexy angle. And the jumpsuits don't hurt either. Sometimes when it's real quiet late at night, when she's asleep, I use the abacus just to hear the beads tap together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I hadn't heard that last piece. That's wonderful. And that's from the new chapbook?
Yeah, it's from the Book of Atmospheres.
I love that.
I
Cool.
love building it up too. First of all, it's a nice workout. You know, it's just in my age, any sort of thing is a workout, and also it's got.
Well, thank you. That was great. So our next reader is our last reader of the day. This is Will Musgrove coming up next. Will is a writer from Northwest Iowa. His work has appeared in Wigleaf, Florida Review, Pinch, the Cincinnati Review, The Forge, Passages North, Tampa Review, and elsewhere. So it is your turn, Will.
Well, if I unmute myself there, I just want to thank Mina for inviting me to read today. This is only like the third time I think I've read to somebody that isn't my dog, so it's always a cool opportunity to get to do so. And also I just want to say how blown away I've been by all the amazing work that's been read so far. You guys are uber talented, like amazingly talented, and I have a lot to live up to here going last, but I'll try my best. So the story that I'm going to be read is called Demolition, and it was originally ran in Identity Theory. So awesome. Demolition. Metal chewing metal, crunching plastic. The smell of gasoline so sweet, you'd think our cars ran on Kool-Aid. In a way, they do. We're all chasing that first sip of life. Today's Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. Strapped into my Chevy Impala, I hold the final Saturday in my mouth like I'm gargling Listerine. The last vehicle idling wins. Smash. I love smashing stuff. As a kid, I'd throw my toys against the walls and stomp on them. I'd hide the pieces under my bed so not to get in trouble, only retrieve them at night to admire their jagged edges. My dad would always find them and glue them back together, but they would never look the same. They'd be whole, but they possessed all their sharp angles. I was one of those toys. I spin the Impala steering wheel left, avoiding an incoming Crown Victoria. Mud splatters on my windshield. The crowd shouts, rides the roller coaster. I flick on the windshield wipers. The mud smears across the laminated glass in the shape of Dad. But it can't be him. Dad used to tell me a story about a man who lassoed the sun. At the end of every day, he and his wife would watch the sun set. Then she got sick. She died. The day after the funeral, the man knotted the lasso and wrangled the sun. He stored the sun in his bedroom closet. Before falling asleep, he'd tell the son about his day, about what he'd done and seen. Well, the rest of the rest of the world got tired of living in darkness, so they broke down the man's door and stole the sun back. As they returned the sun to the sky, the man pleaded with them. Please, he said on his knees, the light is all I have left. Boom, crumpling, the window crank stabs me into my side. The Crown Victoria pushes me over till I'm a flailing turtle on my shell, or flailing turtle on his shell. Cheers, the crowd loves my demise. I can't blame them. If I were sitting in the bleachers, I'd probably be cheering too. Pressing the gas pedal, I taste blood. I turn the steering wheel back and forth, but go nowhere. My tires struggle to find traction on air. How to get upright. I open the glove box, tools and paper tumble out, but there's something bright and warm stuck in the back. I gaze into the glove box, and behind the owner's manual, I see the sun. But it's not the sun. It's my life up to this point. Dad tucks me in. He kisses my forehead, tells me the story about the man who'd lassoed the sun. I smash stuff. He glues it back together. I don't want things to change. Does anyone? I try saying Saturday again, but my lips flutter like a sputtering lawnmower. Revving engines. They're coming for it. For me. I miss him so much. Please, I say, hanging upside down. The light is all I have left. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Beautiful reading. Such a nicely complex story. So I think that is all for our readings today. I want to thank all of you again for coming. The stories were great. You all read beautifully, and it's so nice to have this time with you. This would be a good time for any of you to speak up if I have forgotten something important, because I do that from time to time. To everyone watching, I hope you can seek out these authors and follow their writing. You won't be sorry. It's all good. Their bios are available on the festival webpage, including links to their websites and to their work. And don't forget to order your copy of Best Small Fictions, the anthology, because we need your money. And if anybody has anything else, just speak up.
Just thank you very much. You've been such a gracious host, and all the story. I'm glad I got to hear all these stories. They were all really wonderful.
You guys are a pretty good group. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording now, I hope.